series. In this devotional series, what we're doing is we're looking at the various attributes of God and reflecting on them throughout our week. So I'll give you a bunch of Bible passages, some ideas, and then and some questions for you to just consider as you go about your week. Each of these attributes are supposed to help us understand God. And the reason why we're doing this is because I think many of us have a flawed view of who God is. And so hopefully this is to help correct some of that and also challenge us with some of the areas that need to be changed or corrected. So this is what we're doing. So here we are, we're looking at the essence of God. And today we're going to come across something that I don't think many of us ever really consider or talk about. And it's this idea that God is beautiful. God is beautiful. I think one of the reasons why we actually don't talk about this enough is the very fact that we're uncomfortable with judging someone or something by its physical appearance, because in scripture we're told don't judge based on what someone looks like. And then on top of that, in our culture today, beauty is often sexualized. And so somehow when we talk about beauty, it means I'm attracted or I'm sexually interested in someone. And therefore we have this very flawed idea of what beauty means. But here's the idea that God is beautiful. His God is the glorious sum of all things beautiful. He is the standard for which you can actually measure beauty. And he has these wonderful, desirable attributes that we all want to pursue. All beauty in creation, everything that we see in creation that is beautiful, is a reflection of the beautiful nature of God. And that's another thing. We can look in nature, even in other people, if we find them beautiful. It doesn't mean we're necessarily attracted, but we think that they're beautiful. It's a reflection of the very fact that God himself is beautiful because he created all things. So here are some Bible passages for you to reflect on and think about that talk about God's beauty. Psalm 27 verse 4 says this, "One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple." Again, just to dwell in God's presence and to see the beautiful nature of God. Psalm 50 verses 1 to 2. "The mighty one, God, the Lord, speaks and summons the earth, from the rising of the sun to where it sets. From Zion, perfect in beauty, God shines forth." Again, this measure of beauty, God's standard is perfect, and everything else would pale in comparison to that. Psalm 73, verse 25. "Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you." And just for us to long for God himself. He's the standard for which we want to aspire to and to want to reach out to and to want to have. And so we have this desire for God. So again, it's not this idea of a sexualized desire, but it's just that I want God. I want to be with God. I want to be in God's presence. Revelation 22, verses 1 to 5. "Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, as clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb down the middle of the great street of the city. On each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. No longer will there be any curse. The throne of God and of the Lamb will be in the city, and his servants will serve him. They will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads. There will be no more night. They will not need the light of a lamp or the light of the sun, for the Lord will give them light, and they will reign forever and ever." That image is that at the end, there's no need for the sun, because God himself will shine on all of us. And that is just a picture of this. If you've ever appreciated the beauty of nature, again, God himself created the sun. He himself will be our light forever and ever. So here are some things for us to consider and reflect upon as we go about our week this week. Is God your ultimate treasure and joy? Is God the ultimate treasure and joy in your life? Or do we seek after all these other things that pale in comparison to actually who God is? How much of our emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being is placed in a cultural definition of beauty? How much of our emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being is placed in a cultural definition of beauty? You switch from North America to another part of the world, and every part of the world has a different standard of beauty. And is your own beauty a reflection of God? Some of us have an issue with our own physical appearance. And some of us think we are less attractive or less beautiful. Some of us don't like how we look, or there are always things about our physical appearance that we wish we could change. But is our own beauty a reflection of God? And what would it be like if God were not beautiful? What would it be like if God was not beautiful? Some areas in which we can think about how God's beauty affects our interactions with others. Do you evaluate or judge others based on appearance, ability, or even popularity? So do we judge based on that physical appearance? Do we take care of our own body, mind, and emotions, or do we project image management? Is what we call it, image management. So are we constantly, when we're interacting with others, are we trying to keep a mask and hide the certain things about us to guard ourselves so that nobody really knows? So really, can we be authentic with other people? Is our appreciation of beauty rooted in God or in culture and in trends? Again, one of our challenges in our culture today is that oftentimes when we think of beauty, we immediately jump to some kind of sexualization. But can we appreciate beauty and have it rooted in God rather than in culture and in the trends of today? And the last thing is, how does beauty open up conversations about God and about the good news of Jesus Christ? So that's it for us this week as we ponder and reflect on the beauty of God. Love and peace. We'll see you again next time.